Now that our plywood has been cut to its finished length and width, we're just going to do a final sand on it to make sure the top is as smooth as possible. So our veneer, which is the last layer of our plywood, is already decently smooth, so you don't need to go through very coarse grits. But we're going to start off at 150 and then do one layer of 220, and that should be good for us. It's going to get significantly smoother than it is right now. And in order to do that, we're going to use a orbital sander. At this station, we have these Velcro sanding pads here in various amounts of grit. I'm going to start with a 150. These have Velcro backs and holes. So we're going to do our best to line up the holes on the orbital sander to make sure that it has the best chance at capturing the dust that's created from the sanding process. So I'm going to stick that on, secure it. And before I start sanding, to make sure that we sand this so that our board is as flat as possible and as even as possible, I'm going to do a trick where you take pencil and draw light lines across the board. This way I know if I've hit that area or not. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just start up here and I'm going to work my way with a light amount of pressure. Mostly the pressure is coming from the weight of the orbital sander. I'm going to keep this flat on the board and move it across and then up a little, across, up a little, across, up a little until I'm at the other side of the board, and all of my pencil marks should be gone. At that point, if all the pencil marks are gone, I'm going to repeat that process one more time, put new pencil marks on, and replace this sandpaper with 220 grit, and then continue. It shouldn't take very long as this is already quite smooth, but be cautious not to put too much pressure as the veneer on top of this plywood is quite thin, and we don't want to burn a hole through it and then be able to see the bottom, which isn't as desirable. So we're just going to make sure we put very light pressure, and while we're doing that, we're going to keep the bottom of the sandpaper nice and flat on the top of the plywood. I'll show you how that looks. There we are, my board is already significantly smoother, and I'm going to repeat that process one more time with 220 grit. There we are, one very smooth piece of plywood. It feels really great. And now the next step is we have the option here at John Oliver to do some laser cut engraving. If you'd like to do that, now is the perfect time while it's not assembled. And otherwise, if you do not want to do that or you don't have access to that, you'll just move on to the next step of the assembly.